So just to quickly round up the podcast with the final leagues in Europe and talking about the ones to watch and our Starboys of the week. Starting in Turkey, Victor Osimhen played 80 minutes for Galatasaray as they tried to do a rescue job in the Europa League on Thursday, but they're already down 4-1 from the first leg. Unfortunately, they drew the game 2-2 even though Osimhen scored, and they're now out of the Europa League. Rightfully so, to be honest. They were shocking. Earlier today, though, Galatasaray played Fenerbahce in the top of the table clash in Turkey. They even had to hire a referee that was not Turkish just to make sure there's no problem. But the game ended 0-0. So Galatasaray continued to lead by 6 points. And it looks like they've maintained their grip on top spot. Out of 24 games so far, they've won 20 and they've drawn 4. So Galatasaray are yet to lose a league game this season. I watched the final 30 minutes of this game. And the security was crazy, man. Like, bro, they had to put like security guards to block the halfway line to separate the Fenerbahce players and the Galatasaray players at the end of the match. So that was quite interesting to see. But with 12 games to go, I would expect Galatasaray to get the job done. And we know they have that winning DNA in Turkey. Next up for them, though, they play Konyaspor at home in the Turkish Cup on Thursday before they play Kasımpaşa away on Sunday. As for Bright Osayi Samuel, he was not new sub in the game earlier today for Fenerbahce. But in the Europa League, he did start in Fenerbahce's 2-2 draw against Anderlecht, which meant they won 5-2 on aggregate. So if there's any consolation for Fenerbahce and Jose Mourinho, they will be the one sole Turkish representative left in either the Champions League or the Europa League going forward for the rest of this season. Next up for them, they'll also be in Turkish Cup action on Thursday playing Gaziantep, and then they'll play Antalyaspor at home on Sunday. Moving on to Portugal, Zedu Sanchez was on the bench. They're just benching Sanusi is the whole point. He's not playing games. Porto lost to Roma in the Europa League, so Porto are out. And I looked at Porto's game today as they're about to play Vitória de Guimarães, and he's on the bench again. So I'm hoping that there'll be some good news for Sanusi. But in his defense, the new manager prefers a back three with 3 centre backs, so he plays 2 wing backs. But he likes to play a bit more attacking full backs who are almost like wingers. So maybe he just doesn't see a place for Sanusi at the moment. But let's see. We'll see if he gets some minutes at the end of the game today, or if he ends up getting some minutes against Aruka away on Saturday. In Belgium, Tolora Godare played 77 minutes as Genk drew a blank against Ghent on Sunday. They're still top of the league, but then they play Sporting Charleroi on Friday. Speaking of Ghent, Jonathan Onariga initially played 90 minutes on Thursday as Ghent beat Real Betis on Thursday, but they went out of the Europa Conference League because they lost the first leg 3-0. He also then played 90 minutes in this 0-0 draw against Tolora Godare, so fair play to him for keeping a clean sheet, although the reward is he gets to play Club Brugge next at home on Sunday. Speaking of Club Brugge, Rafael Durosinmi, of course, played in that big game for Club Brugge as they beat Atalanta, which I mentioned in my post about Lookman, 3-1 in the Champions League. And as a reward, they will now play Aston Villa in the round of 16. If there's one thing I think will also change the perception of how we are rated, all this AFCON kind of nonsense, is how we perform on the big clubs. So when you look at the top 16 teams left in the Champions League, literally Club Brugge. Chuba Akpom Aleo, he hasn't played for Nigeria, but we'll add him into the list. And of course, the Leverkusen boys. How could I forget the Leverkusen boys? Whenever we're suffering or we're in doubt, the Leverkusen boys prop us up and help us with some positive vibes. So in reality, we still have Onyedika, we have Chuba Akpom, and we have Nathan Teller and Victor Boniface left in the Champions League. So not as bad as I thought anyway. So keep it up, and we hope that Onyedika gets... we wish him a speedy recovery because he played 23 minutes against Standard Liège before his injury, which I already mentioned. So let's see if he's back by the weekend. Or if not, let them just keep it on ice are big. In Czech Republic, Slavia Prague continued to romp away into the league title. Igor Ugbo played 90 minutes and scored a goal, actually, as Slavia Prague beat their rivals, second place Victoria Pilsen 3-1 away, with Igor Ugbo scoring the final goal with a header. So fantastic news on Sunday. They're now 13 points ahead of Victoria Pilsen, and they're running away with the league. The good thing for them is, ironically, because of how good Victoria Pilsen are performing in the Europa League, Czech Republic has now jumped into the top 10 leagues in the UEFA coefficient for this season. So Igor Ugbo and Slavia Prague beating Victoria Pilsen means to now rub its insult into injury. Based on Victoria Pilsen's good performances in Europa League, Slavia Prague are likely to get an automatic spot into the Champions League. So I hope that happens and we can see Ogbo there, even though we know the Czech Republic teams did really rubbish in Europe this season apart from Pilsen. So quite an interesting one to see. But speaking of Victoria Pilsen, Nigerian striker Rafiu Durosinmi scored 2 goals last weekend, and he got a goal and an assist in their game in the Europa League on Thursday before they got their asses handed to them by their rival Slavia Prague. In Greece, Oyemachi was on the bench boy right now, man. It's not even fair. But let's see if he gets some minutes against AEK Athens at home on Wednesday in the Greek Cup. And then they play AEK Athens away in the league on Sunday. So back to back. Let's see what happens there. Cyril Dessers played 90 minutes for Rangers. They lost 2-0 to St. Mirren. That was the final straw. Their manager, Philip Clement, was sacked, and they've now hired Barry Ferguson, who's a club legend, to steer the ship for the main time. But to be honest, they have nothing good to play for. They're out of everything. So they play Kilmarnock away on Wednesday, then they play Motherwell at home on Saturday. I wanted to also shout out Daniel Daga, who plays for Molde FC of Sweden. Daniel Daga played 20 minutes for Molde in their Conference League tie on Thursday. And then he came on. He also took a penalty for Molde as they won 5-4 after winning 1-0 in regulation time. Unfortunately for Sweden, because of the climate, they're still in pre-season, but they will play Legia Warsaw of Poland in the round of 16 at the start of March. So Daniel Daga is one to watch. Keen Nigeria watchers will know that Daniel Daga is one of our most important players for the under-20 side. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was even the captain of our team last year or 2 years ago. So I just wanted to bring that one up, especially with the death of midfielders or the fact that we can do with more midfield options in the national team. So look out for that. And then finally, Stein Nwabali played 90 minutes and made 5 saves for Chippa United as they lost 1-0 to Sekuhune United on Saturday. Proper mid-table team, man. Chippa United. They're 9th in the PSL. There's 16 teams. And I mean, I need Nwabali to come to Europe, man. Like, you're Nigeria's number 1. Yes, you haven't let us down, but you're clearly far better than where you're playing, in my opinion. You know. But next up for them, they play Richards Bay on Saturday.